New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network.
Begin Within Ministries proudly presents Sofa Sundays with your hosts, Reverend Dr. Michelle Izuku and Reverend Jeannie Sovereigns. Sundays at 11:11 a.m. Arizona time and rebroadcasts on Mondays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Come join us on the sofa every Sunday morning. Sofa Sundays with Michelle and Jeannie. Learn more at www.beginwithinministries.com. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, hi. Welcome back.
I know you missed me.
I did miss
Good.
you.
You should miss me.
We did have a great time though with Mabes
How
last
was it?
week.
How
She
was
was
it?
awesome.
Oh,
Awesome.
Well, I
We
was
had
holding a
wonderful-
baby the whole time.
Yeah.
I was literally while you were on the air. I was holding a 2-week-old little baby.
Oh, so cute.
Yeah, he just eats and sleeps.
Right.
And sleeps. So I'd say give him to his mother, and then I got him back. And
Right.
that was my life.
They do something else.
Well, I didn't have to worry about that
Yeah.
either. That's the best part about being the auntie.
Right. I was going to say, being an auntie, you don't have to deal with that part. That's how it is as a grandma.
A
too.
great auntie. I'm
Yeah.
kind of like a grandma, but
Right. Exactly.
yeah.
There you go. You just
I
can
know.
hand them back.
When am I going to be a grandma?
Really?
Jordan, Jordan, are you watching
Are
this?
you listening?
No, he doesn't watch it. True, you're too young.
No.
Don't listen to Barbara. You're too young.
No, not yet. Jordan's
Anyway,
the only one.
But Jordan, please.
Yes.
Any day now. Okay.
There you go.
Anyway, we digress.
Wait,
Digress.
already.
I know, we just got
There we
started.
go.
That's
So
what happens when
we
miss
are
each other.
here at Unleash Your Life Studios.
We are.
7220 North 16th Street in
You still have time.
Phoenix.
You still could get here.
That's
Because
right.
we'll ramble for a few more
You
moments.
know it. You know it. We always do.
We're at the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's practice, and where she does all of her wonderful classes.
Mhm.
And we were at a wonderful concert
Oh,
last night
my
for Daniel
goodness.
Nemad, which is, oh my heart, we should have played
Right.
a Daniel Nemad song today.
Right. It has been amazing. It was
Yes.
amazing last night. It was
Oh my gosh. I literally walked in and was like, immediately my soul was like,
Your soul was welcome
My soul
here.
was welcome.
Your
And
soul was
yeah.
welcome here. So.
If you don't know who we're talking about, on Spotify, we have a playlist called Sofa Sundays. You should be able to find it pretty easily. And then Daniel Nemad's songs are there. Once you find him, you could just go to the artist page and find all of this amazing music. What do you say? Like 140 something songs now.
Yeah, it's a 14 albums. Yeah,
Nourish
so-
your soul today and every
Yes.
day. Just start with him. He's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So like last night when he was like, well, I can only do a couple more songs. If I do that song, I won't be able to do the last song. So he has a song called The Last Song. I'm like, no. You have to do the last song. You have to do that song. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And he still did it. So I love him.
It really was. It was amazing. And the energy, and that's the thing I can say about the space we're in is the
Yes.
energy is so built up through the programs and the teachings that are held here. So if you are in need of a space to rent for your healing sessions or something you would like to do, go to unleashyourlife.us and you can see what she has to offer as well as rentals for the
It's
room.
so reasonable.
Yes.
I do all my extracurricular things here.
Yes.
And I love it. And we host our classes here too.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
So
Highly
it's
recommend.
Highly
Highly
recommend.
recommend. I feel like you today, very flowy.
Yes, thank you.
I don't know what to do with all this. Like, I
Thank
keep
you
trying to
for
like
matching.
fix it. Like, how do I? Yeah, she says I'm wearing lime green. I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily have lime green just hanging out in my closet. Luckily, I have this. But
I didn't either until I
don't know
bought
what
this.
to do with myself.
Yeah.
I feel like
I had to. Okay, you know we don't wear
Oh
our
my
shoes,
goodness.
but I had to wear it because look at how cute these shoes are.
I do have boots on today because
Yeah.
it's actually chilly here in Arizona. I know you don't believe me if you're not
I
from
don't
here,
know
but it
if
is
I'm
today.
chilly. I was like, Honey, it's always hot.
Well, you're just.
Yeah, I'm just hot.
You're just cheating. All right.
So,
So what, you want to pray us in? You feel like it?
I can. You want me to pray us in?
Yeah, you want
All
to.
right, do it.
And here we go.
So in this knowing, in this sound, in this just breath, that is the divine, the pattern of perfection, the oneness that is source energy. Knowing that this is the truth of my being and of all beings. I speak my word for the highest and best good of this time together, knowing that each and every person receives exactly what they need. That we are guided, guarded, directed, and blessed in this moment, in this day, in this time, as we are always in the now present moment. And I speak my word for blessings on leaders and teachers of all faiths everywhere, as well as leaders and teachers of all places, cities, states, governments, countries, that they are guided, guarded by the one source energy, knowing that there is only one. And that as we release any misgivings or misdirection, that we are guided in each and everything that we are to do. And I ask for these blessings, knowing that they're already done in the mind of God. I am so grateful. So very grateful for this time together, for the people here, for those online, for everyone within the sound of my voice and beyond. I claim this, I call it good, I release it knowing that it is done. And together we say,
And
so it is.
Thank you.
All right. So as usual, we have a reading. And you have your little card. I love myself and I love my neighbors, because this month
Trying to stay positive.
is November. So November is generally the month of gratitude. And, because of Thanksgiving, and it, the name itself lends itself to gratitude. And we decided to be a little different than everybody else this month. We did not go with gratitude. We went with love.
We did gratitude last year.
Yeah, gratitude is so last year.
Last year, yeah.
We went with love based on the fact that this month, the beginning of this month, a lot of people were not feeling loved.
Perceived it to be
Yes.
possible that some people would be not feeling the love.
Right, they
Yes.
weren't feeling the love.
We want
And
to
this
support that.
is an amazing reading. It is on page 122.
A new author this time. We've not
Yes,
had one
we have
from
not had
Carla
one.
Ryan.
Yes, so this
Yes.
is from our New Thoughts for Today. This is done by the affiliated New Thought Network, which we are a part of. And this is our first book at Anson. We do have a second book. So again, page 122, love thy neighbor. Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself. Matthew 22, verses 37 through 39, King James Version. I hadn't participated in a garage sale in years. It's not often that you hear garage sale and a verse from the Bible at the same place. I used to think of them as too much effort for so little result. That thinking changed with our recent neighborhood event. While the financial return barely bought our lunch, the connections my husband and I made with our neighbors was priceless. We met the wives of husbands whose walking exercise brings them past our house every day. Others waved, called out to us, or came over to comment on our efforts, shake hands, and converse. Between sales, we pulled weeds in the nearby flower beds, raked the grass, and completed minor chores and small craft projects that had been awaiting our attention. We read books and shared laughs and conversations on a myriad of topics. This experience provided deep personal meaning at many levels. With neighbors, our home, our marriage, and the practice of releasing things we no longer needed. We felt more rooted where we lived. We enjoyed and appreciated our community. Throughout that weekend, we also witnessed the collective efforts towards a common goal, being a good neighbor and caring about one another. It seems easier now to reach out to maintain these relationships. To love our neighbors, I'm already looking forward to the next garage sale. I love myself and I love my neighbors. We are blessed in our community as we work together in harmony. Reverend Dr. Carla Ryan, Interfaith and Religious Science Minister, North Bend, Oregon. Thank you, Reverend Dr. Carla.
Thank you.
I love that. I love, I love garage sales too. Maybe not so much for getting to know my neighbors as I love buying. I've always been a believer of let me make my trash your treasure and vice versa.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And the clearing.
Yeah.
Getting rid of things you no longer need. That's so important.
Sure.
Also. But I love getting to know the people that, especially people that live right next door to you. They live in this exact same, we're all in the same little area together.
Right.
And some people you never even see or talk to. It's so weird.
It is.
Yeah.
So a lot of you know, I recently moved to a community. Well, now I'm going on 2 years. I guess it's not that recent anymore.
2 years already. Wow.
I know. 2 years this December.
Wow.
I know it.
I know,
Right?
that flies by. Right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. So, and in that, it's not so much the garage sales that does it for us. We have Friday night bingo.
So
And I love bingo. It's so much fun, and got to know a lot of people in that process because you get dinner, you get bingo. It's just a lot of fun. And
Mhm.
so right now at my community, we are doing a craft fair. Thank you for coming out. And Dakota's there today, and she has all her wares going. She does a lot of fluid art and resin work, beautiful, beautiful stuff. So that's what they're doing today. And that has been awesome because we have gotten to meet more people. And part of the craft fair, the people that are there are women that we do crafting things with, you know, in our community. Generally once a month, we have like a craft night where we get together and paint or whatever. And that has been, you know, so much fun to have that community, you know, and like we do here, to have that community. Community is so important, right? To have that connection with others, whether you live around them or it's a general, you know, celebration or something that you can connect with others in. I think it's really important to have that experience. I'm normally not somebody who gets to know my neighbors because, you know, you can't lie to a neighbor and tell them you're not home. They see your car.
I've had all kinds of neighbors over my.
Yeah, you do.
I've had the kind where you try to sneak out of your house.
Yeah.
Because if you are caught outside, they will come and talk to you forever.
Yeah.
And you'll be getting in your car and being
You're like, yeah,
okay,
bye-bye.
and trying to drive away, and they're still walking down the driveway with you, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go. Like, you have to let me go. And they can't understand that. They're just so I've had those moments, and I've never really had a neighbor that didn't like, but I've had the ones that they're not wanting to be that
Right.
kind of neighbor, right? They're clearly like, but I feel like, you know, it's pretty obvious we're meant to be in community, or else I'd be here all by myself. There would be just me, you know. We're meant to be with each other. We're meant
Right.
to see that, oh, you feel that way too, or oh, you struggle with that too. It's not just me who feels this way.
Right.
It's not just me who has these good or bad situations happening, you know. So I feel like it's important that we don't isolate, that we're not separated, and it doesn't necessarily have to be your neighbors that's your best buddy that you hang
Right.
out with, but it's a very easy person or people to know that
Right.
you see every day. Our neighbors, we have an elderly couple next door. Halloween is especially fun because they love Halloween. So the children, since the day they were able to go walk Halloween, and we've always go there first, right? Right, True? It's which house do you hit first?
Lynn's house.
Yes, Lynn and Suzanne's house. We go there first.
Mhm.
They get first dibs at the kids, you know, get to see them first, and they love that, you know. Anytime I have a party or any get together, I invite them, and they she doesn't come. She's hard of hearing. It's hard for her to be, but he always comes, gets himself a plate of food, takes it home to his wife. He doesn't stay very long, but
Right.
he makes himself known, he wants the food, and then he goes back to her.
Well, that's why I
So
attend
cute,
parties
yeah,
too.
right. So it's like that, but what's nice too is that he notices things, like, because he cares about me and he cares about the children, especially when I wasn't married and I was living there as a single woman. He would say, "Hey, Michelle, I just want you to know that one of your roof shingles, I saw it on the, one of your roof shingles flew off. There's maybe an issue up there. You might want to have that checked out." So he just pays a little bit of attention. I don't think people could come to my house and do anything they shouldn't be doing, because Lynn would know.
He would know. There you go.
And my neighbors across the street would know. They, even though I don't know them as well as him, they would know.
Right. Who
And
belongs
I would
and
know
who
too.
doesn't.
I know
Yeah.
who goes to each house, and I know
Right.
if something isn't right, I'm gonna know. So I think just that is so beautiful, and I know, like, my husband talks about that, the phase of his life where he was kind of alone, go to work, come home, and there was nobody there, and how lonely that could be, and the despair and the depression that can set in when there's no other human that would know if you got up in the morning or you didn't, or if you had something to eat or you didn't, or if you, there's nobody to have that. He talks about that sometimes, how he's so grateful that's not what he's living, how he's living now.
Yeah.
That even though the kids are loud or the dog, the puppy's barking when he's trying to sleep, it's that is, yes, that can be difficult or annoying when that's happening, but it's totally a different situation.
Right. It's also a sign of life.
Yes.
Right. And community.
And that connection, that
the noise.
That's right.
right. It's so much more important to have that. We need those people. We need our tribe. They don't have to always be the ones that you're so deeply connected with, but you still need those connections. We need each other.
Yes.
So
I love that you said that about Peter, and having, the difference between loneliness, or having community.
Yeah.
A lot of people know. And in my paycheck job, this is my passion job. In my paycheck job, I'm a community manager, and I have a community that's a 55 plus community, and a lot of people live on their own. And those are the people that you can tell they're neighbors. When we're talking about neighbors, their neighbors always check in, and I remember there was this one woman who had been taken to the hospital, and her neighbor called to just say, "Hey, I need you to know, an ambulance came for her last night and she went to the hospital." And, so they're always looking out. They're always watching to see what's happening. Sometimes they're watching to tell on somebody. Did you know so and so? Yeah,
that's the other side.
That is the other side of neighbors. There are nosy
They do
ones.
notice
Yeah.
everything.
They know everything. And when you live in a community when there's only 8 feet in between houses,
Yes.
right? I mean,
Right.
people know everything, right? They know everything about you. They know, like, when you're upset at your spouse, they know what you're having for dinner, especially if you have your windows open and you try to cook too quickly on a gas stove and your alarm's going off.
Yeah.
Not that I know about these
Oh, yeah.
things. I don't really know about these things, but that can happen.
Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, so like you were saying about, even though the kids are loud, the dog's barking, you
Right.
do accept that these are the sounds of life,
Yes.
the sounds of, community in action.
And the gratitude for that.
Yes.
And then being grateful for that, and having love to the people that are around you. And you can have neighbors where you live, you can have neighbors where you work, you can have neighbors, and it's how are we relating to that? So I've never been isolated and alone. So I don't know that feeling. I've always had either a child in the house, or I've had parents, when I was a child growing up. I've never had that feeling of going home and there's nobody there for a long period of time. Maybe if when I was single and the kids were at their dad's, I might have had an overnight or two. And I recognize I didn't actually love that feeling. But to be like that is your only choice. Like yes, there you go.
Yeah.
That's why pets are important. But there's nobody's coming home. Nobody's gonna know if what you're doing. I feel like, as annoying as humans can be, even in the work environment, as annoying as humans can be, it's up to us and our reaction to them.
Right.
That makes all the difference. So yes,
Right.
so-and-so can be a tattletale. So-and-so can notice if I'm doing whatever and picking on this, saying these things or whatever. I put the the courtyard in my front yard. And my one little lady neighbor came over and she goes, I don't know that that's legal, that you can do X, Y, Z. And I'm like, okay, thank you so much. You know? But so it's my choice. It's my choice to love my neighbor or not.
Right.
And we all know the consequences of both.
Yes.
Right? It's our reaction. What we put out there is what we're going to receive. So difficult neighbors, sweet neighbors, whatever, I just say I love them all. Mm-hmm. And even the difficult ones, you're going to get something different from them when you love.
And that's the biggest thing, right? Is the love part of it, right? So there's the love myself and love my neighbors or other humans. Let's just, the other human part. And it is sometimes difficult when they don't agree with how life should be.
Right.
When they have a different perception and want to tell you about it loudly, rudely, in a way that makes you feel defensive, maybe triggers you, so there is, I think, where that particular thing comes in of, this Bible story, so to speak, of loving our neighbors, right? Mm-hmm. It's easy to love people who love us.
Oh, yes.
Who agree with us, who are nice and kind and bring us baskets of goodies. Yes.
I like the baskets of goodies.
Baskets of goodies are always good, right? It's so easy when somebody is lovable. Can you love someone who's not? Now, there's where our work comes in, right?
What do we want to put more of in the world?
Right.
Because they can come at us. We've had a neighbor, right, True, that came at us attacking because she believed my children were back there destroying her fence. That's what she believed, because we have a very old fence between our homes and it's falling apart. Now, it very well could, I know it's not my kids, but it very well could be the dog maybe, but I've never seen anybody at that fence. But it was falling apart. So she was very upset. And I guess in the beginning, she just tried to fix it herself and without talking to anybody about it. Got to the point where she was very upset about it and figured out what house that was and came around and found my home and came to our front door. And she was in a space when she got to me. She was in a space and was ready to let me have it. Like she was ready for whatever, right? And now, I'm a nice, sweet person. You don't talk about my children, though. That's my only thing where you're going to get a hard push. But so she came at me saying what she was ready to say and the whole thing. And I said, and I'm very calm because I recognize she was not. And I don't want to fight with any of my neighbors. So when we were talking through, and then she said, well, your kids, but I said, no, just one moment, though. I will talk to you and we can deal with this situation. But unless you have proof that it's my kids, we're not going to talk like that. Mm. Neither one of us actually know what is exactly happening. Well, clearly, I said, I'm going to say it one more time. Neither one of us exactly know what's actually happening. So let's work together to make the solution. We both want the same solution. Neither one of us want our fence to be broken down.
Right.
So what can we do from here? I certainly will talk to my children and I will make sure that they are aware of the situation. But how do we work together? And then I said, I want to work together with you. I don't want to fight with you. I want to work together with you. So how can we work together to make sure that we both have the outcome we both want? And she kind of was like, oh, well, if you'll talk to your children and then I suppose I'll do. And then we started this really nice conversation. And now we have a nice conversation around that. The fence is just falling apart. So pieces of the fence just kind of just pop out.
It just fall.
I don't know what's happening, but it just, gets to the point where it comes out. No one's back there. That's why I knew it wasn't my kids. Like no one's out there playing in that yard, that part of the yard. That's just not, my kids just don't do that. So, and I can't imagine Jack doing that. He's not the kind of dog that jumps up on things. And
he's too old for that. I don't think he would. Yeah. Even if he did see the fence, he probably would have tried to fight it.
Yeah, there's no, it doesn't make any sense.
To fight or tear down.
Poor Jack. We love Jack.
Jack's not going to randomly grow hands and grab the fence.
And try to knock it down. I know. That's what I'm saying. So anyway, but it was, I don't think you have to be a pushover or you have to be, take it if somebody comes at you in a harsh way, but you can, so you can set your boundaries and then be loving back.
Right.
You know, I let her know, like, we're on the same, we're trying to get the same thing to happen, for us to live together in harmony. Nobody
Right.
wants to be fighting. I don't want a neighbor who hates me. This is not the goal of why I'm here. So let's stop trying to accuse whoever. Let's try to figure out what's the solution. What do we need to do to make this work together?
Right.
And I think luckily she heard me. She didn't harp on that again. She just kind of went, okay, well, let's move forward. And I think that's the point, is that when you have somebody who's coming at you in that negative way, do they really want to fight with you? Do they really want to have this ugliness happen? They're doing that because that's what they think is going to come back.
Exactly. That's what they think is going to happen.
Yes.
They're already ready to, right? We talked about
Right.
that last week in class about the fight or flight type of
Yes.
thing, right? So many people are ready for
the confrontation.
the
right? They're like,
confrontation.
I'm going to come at you first.
Instead
Right.
of being defensive, they go on the offense.
Exactly.
Right.
They're so ready. If they have to, because they probably don't want to have they're so afraid of the conflict anyway. Nobody wants to have conflict that they've been avoiding to the point where it got so big. Now they're upset and now
Right.
they have to come at you. So if you can keep yourself in that space of loving my neighbor, whether it's your actual neighbor or a neighbor at work or just some human being that
Right.
is a neighbor on the planet, you can change the relationship. You have that power to change the relationship and the outcome all by yourself. They don't even have to go at it.
Know what's happening. Yeah.
Right. You are the one you are in control of that piece of it. You know, it's Martin Luther King said, love or hate can't drive out hate. Only love can do that. Only
Right.
love can change that. If you come at me with hate and I come back at you with hate, we're going to have hate. I mean, that's
Right.
but if you come at me with hate and I come back at you with love, you can't hate cannot continue in that.
Right. Because you can't
Behavior.
continue to have the fight.
Yeah.
Right. You can't continue to have
I'm
the,
not doing it.
yeah. You're like, oh, okay. Thanks anyway. You
Yeah.
know?
Right. So we can decide.
Right.
And we can do that by loving whatever the neighbor is that comes along, even the people on the freeway that.
That's a little harder.
I know it's a little bit, that's going to be the practice, is the driving.
Practice.
Gosh, the other day I'm
The
telling you.
barometer for your serenity is traffic.
It's
Yes,
always
practice in traffic. I'm telling you, that's when you know you're building muscle.
Right. And
For the
that's why
everyday.
I don't drive east here. Yeah.
I cannot
It's
believe
one
this
of those
traffic lately.
things.
I almost got hit the other day. I was like, whoa, oh my goodness, what are we doing?
This is the time of year.
My husband will lose. My husband their
Yeah.
dad, they like over. I'm like, okay, calm, settle down,
Yeah.
settle down.
That's why I drive. Yeah. I love that when she talks about witnessing the collective efforts towards a common goal,
Yeah.
right? Being a
Oh.
good neighbor and caring about one another.
Mhm.
And I think that is so important, like when you were saying about the common goal, about how when we get triggered, like, you put out your boundary there. Look,
Yeah.
I'll talk to you as long as you're not my kids.
Don't be attacking my
Yeah,
children.
don't attack my children. So having that boundary, that loving boundary.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really important. And you had said about that, being able to stand up for ourselves in love without being that doormat
Right.
can be done
Mhm.
without being offensive to
Right.
someone else.
They have to know they're not going to. She thought she's going to come and push me over.
Right.
Right. And that you cannot help create a solution if you're lying flat. You have to be upright. You don't have to push the other person over, and you can't get the solution if you're pushing the other person over either. You both have to be upright. So if she's coming at me and she's trying to push into me, I just need to go, hold on a second. So I'm coming back and now we're balanced, and now we can find a solution together. But the other way, thought she was going to just come at me.
And she wouldn't get a solution.
No, she's
Right.
going to get an angry,
Right.
we're going to lose my temper. Now that's a whole different outcome.
Right. You have to, when you are not operating in a loving place, you can't find a solution,
No.
right? You can't hear the other person, right? They can't hear you.
Yeah.
And there are sometimes, like, I know when I get triggered in situations or in conversations, I know when I'm not listening, right? I mean, we all know ourselves enough to know when we're not
You're
listening.
done.
If I start talking over somebody,
Mhm.
if I start getting defensive
Yeah.
or maybe pointing out everything they do wrong, I'm probably not listening.
I've done that.
I'm just gonna
guilty
say.
of that. I can be guilty. Of
Yeah.
that, for sure.
Right?
Because you're trying to protect. You're going to protect it.
I got triggered, and now I've got to keep myself okay. And then I'm not listening. And when I'm not listening, I can't help solve it, like you said, right? Because now it's not just about.
And that's not loving yourself.
No.
That's protecting yourself. There's a difference.
And there is a difference.
There's a difference.
Absolutely.
I'm protecting myself. That's not loving myself. I'm loving myself. I'm going to be honest and authentic and vulnerable and saying, what is my piece of this? And I'm going to work with myself and love myself. I'm not going to just put up all my armor and protect myself and attack you so that you don't get there.
Right.
You know,
But
so there's a difference there.
People so if I'm in that mode, it's generally, because I wasn't willing, like you said about being vulnerable. I wasn't willing to be vulnerable about something because I'm feeling too exposed.
Yes.
Right. And then the other person, you said she had already tried several ways of handling it on her own. And then when she couldn't handle it on her own, now she was mad about it. Right. So obviously she was feeling lack of control in that scenario. So that can be hard too, right? If you're not vulnerable and you're feeling lack of control in a situation, then it's like, I'm coming out fighting.
Right. And it's just that protective space. If I'm honoring myself, like if this was going on, honoring myself, loving myself would be, I'm going to go have a conversation with my neighbor because there's a problem here. And I can't tell where it's coming from. I'm not out here hitting this fence and knocking it, but something's happening with the fence. I need to talk to this other person. Let's have a conversation. I'm honoring myself because I'm not going to sit over here and try to do this and that and be angry and all this. That's not loving myself or honoring myself.
Right.
So had she come to me from the beginning, she would have had different approach, but she had waited and she'd already done and spent money and done this or that. And now she's furious and spent money and then comes to me to attack because she's got, and she had fear that it was going to cost her more. If she didn't get me on board, it was going to cost more money because it was going to keep happening. So it was just this moment where I had to I could feel her force actually coming at me. And I had to be like, whoa, let's settle this down so that we can work for the solution together.
Right.
And so I really I could feel myself wanting to be on the attack back because I can attack back too. I felt myself, but then just because of, I've been in these situations before with strange other people. There's no solution if I'm going to attack you back.
Right.
So if I can just be calm with myself and hear what you're actually trying to accomplish, and if I can then help us get there, we're going to be much better than you attack me and I'm attacking you, and we don't get anywhere with that.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like anybody have a comment because I'm feeling like, no? Okay, good. So yeah, but that's what I would, I just don't want to keep talking over if somebody's like, whoa, I've seen something.
I get something to say. Are you kidding me? These people know how to interrupt.
That's true. That's true. I just want to be right with the microphone.
Yeah.
But that's what I feel like. I don't know why that story is but that's a neighbor situation, I suppose. But it's honestly, this is just love any other person as best as you can when you're having whatever situation you're having, just if you can be the constant. It's not the same as being a pushover. It's not the same as, you can still talk about what your pieces are. What just turned off? Something turned off?
He turned on the thing and
I just wanted to make sure something was right.
My Bluetooth was on and my Bluetooth hooks up to that.
Gotcha. I'm like, something changed. I just want to make sure they can hear us because, but that's, so I think the overall message is love yourself and then love your neighbors so that not at sacrifice of yourself. And not trying to be defensive, not in a protective, don't show up protectively, just love, just be love. Place of love.
I love how you said that. Not, again, going back to the, not having boundaries or being a pushover, right? Because, I grew up hearing that particular Bible verse and, love God and love your neighbor as yourself.
Right.
So that part of loving someone as yourself, there were so many times that I think that I gave myself away as love. right? I would be like, oh, you've heard about those people that give you the shirt off their back and
Yes.
walk around naked. Okay.
Yeah.
So like that type of love, right? And only if you're in a pride parade. So, thank you, Anne.
Oh, is that a question?
Oh, she has I thought she was telling us she was naked in the pride
That was my first response. Well, actually, I have a scenario with my neighbors. The horrible part was that one of his dogs killed some of my dogs, and it was awful. And I went over to him and I was screaming.
Yeah.
And his response initially was not very caring. And I was struggling because, obviously the grief, but also that we had a pretty good relationship for 20 years. And we had issues early on when he was still drinking. I helped him get his citizenship. He got sober. We had this great, I watched his kids grow up. And one of the other neighbors went to him and said, you guys care about each other. You need to make this right. And so the other neighbor brought him over to me because obviously he was talking about his pain, about what had happened.
Yeah.
And he came over and he was crying and he said, I'm sorry about how I reacted initially. I was so shocked and you were so upset. I didn't know what to say.
Yes.
And he goes, and I know I said the wrong thing. He said, but he goes, I will pay you. I know you had vet bills. I will pay all your vet bills. He goes, it'll take me a while. And so for every paycheck, he paid me for the next 2 months until he had paid the entire vet bill. And that was fine. Paying the vet bill is fine. But what was more important was that he came over and said, I care about you. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. And we were able to restore the love between us because ultimately, and the fact that one of the other neighbors cared enough.
Yeah.
Because we all lived
Beautiful.
around each other for 30 years, so
Beautiful.
that's something that we really, really did establish, and that made all the difference because I don't know how we would have continued living next door to him if I still had this idea that he didn't care about what happened to my dogs.
Right. And I think that's, I think sometimes we can't, it's not be responsible. I can't think of another word, maybe can only, but when we react sometimes, stuff comes out and then you can go back and go, that is actually not how I wanted to respond to. That is actually not what I wanted to do. And then you're
thanks for the divine do-overs.
Yes.
Because we will ask for them.
Yeah. If we know this, but some
Yeah.
people don't have that. And then they feel so shameful and upset about that. They don't have it in them to go and say, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I reacted that way, but it was just shock, pure shock. Like you just this thing comes out, this words come out, and then it's hard to go back and say, didn't mean that. I don't know why I said that. That's not what I would want to say to you. So I've had moments where where I've said things and I've reacted and I've walked out of the room and then my mind goes, and is that what you wanted? Is that, and I argue with myself, you be quiet. Like I'm mad.
Right.
And every right, I had every right to say that. And then it's like, yes, but is that the outcome you want? Yes, you had every right to say that. Or you had every, but is that the outcome you wanted? And it's like, no. And then that goes, go back and fix it. Get in there. Yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest thing when we feel offended, right?
Yes.
Like when somebody comes to us.
Embarrassed that happened.
Right. Like when somebody comes to us and says, you blah, blah, blah. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care who it is. Somebody starts out their conversation with me with you
or your kid or your dog.
Like you, I'm all like, bet me, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
And that's a very hard thing to like be okay with and to sit in your peace and in your love when someone is you.
Yes.
It's like, I am not a sheep. Okay.
Right. Especially about like he loves his dog.
Yeah.
And now he's probably afraid if my dog hurts your dog, what are you going to want about my dog?
Yeah.
There's all this fear there. This woman comes and she's attacking my kids, your kids, XYZ. Like, what if my kids are doing this? Like there's so many layers of stuff there.
And we're not responsible for that first thought, but we are responsible for feeding it.
Yes.
So,
and
that's what happens, right? When we're caught off guard, when we're not in our love, when we're not operating in a grounded sense of self and source, we respond with this blah, 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 whatever that is. And like you said, there are a lot of times where I'm like, oh, I did not mean to show up like that.
Yeah, that is not
who I mean, it's my first response.
right. Old triggers.
Right?
Programming. We all have that.
Right.
And that can be what comes out.
Look, I'm sleepy. You know, like
Like,
there are
whatever.
time
Had a
periods
bad
that
day,
happens,
whatever,
right?
Hangry.
Hangry. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
do that when I'm-
You know, like a lot of times I don't eat before service. And then if we have, well, thank God this class has snacks, you know, but like by the time I normally get home on a Sunday, it's 1, 2 o'clock, right? This is not the time period for my partner and I to have some serious conversation, right? Like we need to have food
Yes.
and then we can
And
talk.
then we can
Yeah.
feed me
You
first.
know, that's right? Because hangry is a good one. I am a totally different person when I'm hungry.
Yeah, the system that we're operating doesn't work
Yes.
well under certain
Yeah.
situations, right?
Exactly.
But we can have that moment where of clarity where we go, whoa, wait a minute.
Mhm.
What's the outcome if I leave it here?
Right.
Is that the outcome I want?
And that's
no,
where you
then
want
what do I do from here?
Right.
What do I
That's
need
where
to
you
do?
want to really look at yourself and go, okay, is
That's
that how I
right.
want to show up? And, you know, Michelle has told the story about with her son and the chores and how she wanted to show up and going back in there and saying, you know, what I meant to say is,
Right.
you know, and that's the thing is what I mean to say is, I love you and I'd like to work together with
Yes.
this. And here are some things that I need.
Yeah.
And I hear you say you need this.
Right.
And I'm sorry I showed up in this particular way.
And boundaries don't have to have teeth.
Right. Oh, thank you,
100%,
Ann. Thank you.
100%.
Right. Boundaries don't have to have
Right.
teeth or a gun or a knife. Right. They can be gentle.
Exactly. Like I didn't have to attack her when she said that. I mean, because she wasn't sweet about it at all. She'd be like, "You're a kid." I mean, I could have gone right back. You know, don't you dare, blah 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 blah. I'll censor all of that. I didn't have to do that, although I could, and I have in my past had those reasons. I'm very capable of having teeth, but I didn't have to do that, and I didn't. Thank God. I'm glad I didn't do that. And so I was in a space that day. My mood was. I was okay, and I was able to respond how I would like to respond. I held my boundary in a kind way, and then I proposed that we work on a solution together. And that's what she really wanted. She wanted to figure out how to stop this from happening. And she was so stressed out about it. So she was just attacking whatever.
Right.
Because she was wanting me to help her. So instead of saying, would you please help me with this situation with our mutual fence? I am so worried about that. And I have no more money to spend on it. Can you please help me? I would have been like, absolutely. But instead she was prepared that I would not. And so she came over to attack me. So it's all those things.
I was just going to say, sometimes you end up taking it out on somebody else.
Yes.
I had a situation this week where I was on a twice weekly Zoom call, and I felt like the person in charge who is on this committee with me was discounting everything I was saying, and turned out I was right. But that's beside the point. I was so frustrated that another person on the call, who was more my peer compared to the other person who was discounting me, who was above me, I said something to her that she may not have even taken as bad, but I took it, oh, I shouldn't have said that. So I had to literally, after the meeting, contact her and say, if I came off the wrong way, I really apologize. So, and then the person who discounted me, I've never heard from her, so she's not even aware she did it. But I'm not going to do anything about that because I just can't. But at least I can apologize to the person I took it out on,
Right.
because I was frustrated and couldn't take it out. In the middle of a Zoom call with 30 other people, I couldn't do that.
Right.
But I did say something that I know was not the right thing to say to the other person. So I have to watch that because I tend to, they call it kick the cat in psychological terms. I
Yeah.
tend to kick the cat a lot. I used to do it with my mother. I used to do it with my sister. I've probably done it with Barb because I'm so frustrated. I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
So I apologize in advance if I do that.
Aw, because you kids. Aw.
And I love that, right?
That's a
About-
great awareness, though,
Yes.
don't you think?
Yes,
That's
that
a
is a
great
great
awareness.
awareness because there are so many times, you know, it's, you know, this happens a lot. Like you said, I probably do it with Barb. When you come home from your day away and whomever, your spouse, your roommate, your cat, your neighbor, your children, whomever.
Grocery store.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, as
yes,
a
those
previous
support
grocery store worker.
Support
Oh
clerks,
yeah.
yes.
Prime time from 4 to 6, the meanest people on earth are in the grocery
Yes,
store.
that's awful.
You know, because they're getting off of work, they've had
They
a
wanna go
whatever
home.
day,
They just wanna
they
go
want to
home.
go home, they want to take off their monkey suit, you know, and the spouse said, hey, we're out of Parmesan, can you bring the spaghetti? Whatever. And now I've got to stop at the worst place on earth
Yes.
between 4 and 6
Yes.
to deal with everybody else whose spouse, roommate, child said I need.
Yes.
And, you know, none of us are happy. Yeah. And the poor clerks at that time period. Oh my goodness, you know.
I can't even
Yeah.
imagine that. Oh.
Yeah. That was a tough time, you know. Yeah. It was, you know, and my poor, yeah. So be kind to your cashiers, you know,
Just be
because a
kind
lot
to
of
people.
them are working, you know, by the time they're seeing you at that time period, they've been on since 7 a.m. They get 3 breaks, you know what I mean? Like a lot of them smoke, they haven't been able to get their cigarette, you know, be nice.
Yes,
Yeah.
sounds bad
So
already.
it truly is. Like, so when you said just be kind to people, what a difference that makes, you know. And Daniel Nahmad last night was talking about making that eye contact with people.
Yes.
And one of the stories he shared last night that I loved was he was talking about thanking people who are of service. And he talked about thanking the person cleaning the restrooms
Yes.
in the airport.
I always do that.
And I love
They
that
are
because
unnoticed.
they are the most unseen
Yeah.
people, right? People are running to, you will never see this person again, right? There's a good chance, even if you're always flying, there's a good chance you're not flying at the same time. They're not working the same
Yeah,
restroom,
right.
right? So here's this person who has a kind of gross job.
Yes.
You know, I don't even like cleaning my own house's bathrooms, let alone, you know, the millions of people that go through the airport bathroom. You know, so they're doing this thing and people are walking past them and by them and, you know, not making eye contact, not acknowledging them as humans.
Mm-hmm.
And why do, you know, here's my little digress too. Why do people get so upset or so into a victim mode in life is because they feel unseen and unheard, right? When
They don't like they matter.
with that, they don't matter.
Right.
So when you can be that person, you know, and Daniel had talked about that one sentence, that one thing. Hey, how are you? And you're making eye contact with somebody who feels unseen in life.
And they won't even, they don't look at you either because
Yeah.
they're so used to not being seen.
Mhm.
They'll just go right by you and or
Yeah.
they're just doing whatever they're doing. And you're like, how are you today? They're like
Yeah,
shocked or thank you for taking care of everything in here. It's
Right.
very nice
Yeah.
in here
Yeah.
or whatever. I always try to
to
pick that up.
acknowledge
Yeah,
that.
because
Yeah.
I don't even know why I started doing that, but
You know,
I
just-
do notice they don't look. They just
Just
keep their head down, and I
Mhm.
think that's all.
Yeah. And it's hard when you're like, you know, for me, if when I'm a doer in a scenario, whether it's at work or going to the airport or whatever, I know they all know me. I am such a
Focused.
Yeah, I
Me
am
too.
focused. I am tunnel visioned. I am not looking around to be cheery genie. You know, I'm like, I got a mission, right? You know,
Right, yeah.
so that is something that that's my work, you know, to do is to be a little bit more, you know, I won't say unfocused, but maybe aware that there are other humans.
Open focus.
Yeah, more open
Yeah,
focused.
And I'm just busy making friends everywhere I go.
Yeah, that's
you
what
know.
you do naturally, right?
You
That's
know,
what Ann does
and my
anyway.
partner's like that too. Like Dakota I remember we're at the Grand Canyon and she's just like, hi, where are you from? And everything. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're trying to get somewhere, you know, stop talking to these people, you know. So, yeah, you know, it's one of those things where it's like, just to be aware of other humans and to acknowledge them is more than you'll ever know,
Yeah.
right?
It
More than
is.
you'll
You
ever
don't
know.
even know what you could be doing
Right.
for that person. You will never know. But it is important. Love these people.
Love people.
Love people.
Love people always.
Love people. Smile at them. Purposefully smile at them. I love when like even someone's like, walking across a crosswalk or whatever, I just look on there like, okay, like, I'm just like, I'm gonna notice that you're there.
Well, that's good because we don't want to hit them.
I don't want to hit them.
Good.
I don't need any issues.
Right.
No problem.
That's when you have to be a little bit more
I
open
know.
focused.
But
Yeah.
You should look people right in the eye.
Right in the eye.
Right. I see you.
What else you guys got?
Feel complete. Yeah.
Did you want to share anything?
Feeling like love.
Any awareness? Do you feel loved? Do you feel?
Always.
There you
Oh,
go.
I love that. It's nice.
There we go.
True, you good?
Yeah. You feeling good? We missed you last week during Hug Week.
What?
Yeah. You know,
Oh, maybe
I
he
know.
needs a hug.
it was Hug Week. So
He's like, Mom, do not make me come up. You know, I'm feeling like you should come up here, but I don't.
yeah, we won't make
I
it.
feel it though. I feel it. I feel like
Yeah.
you should come up here and give Jeannie a hug.
Yeah, 20 seconds. You don't. So while I have the
Do it.
floor, I'm
Do
going to
it.
talk about humor.
Come and
Humor,
demonstrate a hug with
hugs,
Jeannie.
hope, and hummus.
Why?
Come and demonstrate
Why?
a hug with Jeannie. He's gonna.
You don't have to stop doing that. He's like, Anne's there. She can hug. She's the hugger. So last week was Hug Week, and I talked about how
Can you
important.
explain what that means?
Sure. So I am getting there.
Okay.
You're a little pushy, lady. So in the humor, hugs, hope, and hummus
Thank
class,
you. She's
I
having a
did
class.
say it. You were
She's
just too busy.
She's having a class.
I am having a class. So first week was humor, and we talked about the healing benefits of humor in our lives, and smiling and laughing and stuff. And last week was hugs, and we talked about the healing benefits of the 20-second hug. You should have your hug should be at least 20 seconds, and you should have at least 8. Now, sometimes, as we were talking, we don't have that many neighbors that we want to hug, and or we're in a position where we can't, or we don't have people around us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can offer ourselves that by placing our hand on our heart. So, and even as you do this, you can feel that experience of peace, knowing that you are being divinely hugged. And this is something that you can give yourself no matter what, no matter where you are or what's happening, to help regulate. So I just wanted to offer that to everybody.
I just want to sit here.
I know, it's a
I would just
beautiful
hug
thing.
myself. I
Yeah,
will just-
and you can, right? And
Do
you
the
can
same
hug
thing,
yourself
like,
too.
Oh, I just love you so much, right?
And it's so important. Touch is so important,
Mhm.
right? Appropriate, consensual.
Yeah, you gotta-
Let me just.
Disclaimer, let me
my
make it
disclaimer.
clear what we're talking about here.
I don't want anybody saying, Reverend Jeannie said. But touch is so important to help us grow and be loved.
Yes, like we matter and that we're connected.
Well, I remember when during COVID, the whole thing was you had to wash your hands for 20 seconds, so you'd sing happy birthday.
Yes.
I could just see us singing happy birthday every time.
There you go. Every time we're, yeah,
That's true.
It
It
just
just make
make
thing. Oh, yeah.
too fun. Too fun.
Oh yeah, we're gonna start getting slap happy. I can tell.
Yeah, I can tell.
We've had a
That's what-
hug.
We've had our hugs. We've had a few cups of coffee. We're good.
I guess I have had
Yes.
a couple cups of coffee. Yes.
All right.
I
Are you
know,
ready? Are you
I'm-
ready?
I was born ready.
Well, all righty then.
I don't know if I was born ready, but let's breathe all that in. Let it run through your body and release it. That joy, that laughter, that love, those God qualities that move in as and through each of us here. Good God, because God is that love. God is that joy, that peace. God is that connection, that breath that brings it all together. We are each that. And from my truth, my knowing all of our truths, I speak my word for our time together today, knowing that as we allow ourselves to receive that love, that joy, that laughter, as we allow ourselves to come from that truth to others, we allow ourselves to share our love, to give our love to our neighbors, whether it be the neighbor near our home, the neighbor we sit next to at work, the neighbor in the grocery store, the neighbor in the car next to us. Whoever that neighbor may be, I know that as we each come from our truth, come from that love that we all are, I know that we receive it in return, that we feel that connection, that we feel the happiness, the joy that is divinely ours. And I rest in that knowing. I rest in that truth. I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful for that superpower that we are all equipped with. We just need to make that choice in every interaction. We choose to love ourselves. We choose to love our neighbor as ourselves. And we create so much love. And so I let it go, knowing that it is divinely guided and so blessed. We are all so blessed. And together we say, and so
it is. Ah, wonderful.
I feel very blissful now.
Very
today.
wonderful.
I feel very blissful.
I get to do
There
it.
we go. You okay? She said you
How
could
can
do
I
it.
support you?
Oh,
Thank you. I love it.
I love
it.
support.
Right?
You know what? We have another thing that we do here at Sofa Sundays. We have a spiritual church club partnership that several people are a part of, and we all have our matching mugs.
Mugshot.
You know how clubs are. We like to have our matching mugs. We have our matching sofa charms that I wear. I don't know,
Mine's
I don't
on
know
my
what you
keychain.
all do with yours,
Right.
but I
Mine's
wear
on my
mine.
keychain.
Yes. And we all participate in really cool classes, and we are all together building this amazing community known as Sofa Sundays. And so we invite you, if you want to be part of this partnership, if you want to join us in creating more of this love and connection in a bigger, more expansive way, then we invite you to become one of us. And you can do that by going to our homepage, beginwithinministries.com. And if you scroll down, you'll see a place where you can do a donation. And of course, we love donations. We love any support that we can have financially. It helps us to do things like provide our cards and grow and expand more. But if you become a partner, it's $45 a month for an individual, or $75 for a couple or a family. And that supports all of us. We collectively support each other together in that partnership and grow this community.
Yeah.
So we would love that if you want to join us in that.
And if you feel that maybe isn't something that you can do at this time period, but you're watching us on YouTube, can you please like and subscribe? We are at 45. We'd love to get to 50, 51. So
You
tell
could
your
be
friends.
that person that gets us there. Yeah.
That gets us there, yeah. So
Yes.
that, and then also our Facebook group we have a Facebook page group called, guess what? Sofa Sundays. And
We're so consistent.
we try. And we put a lot of information there. There's a lot of fun stuff there. And
Interactive way that you can interact with our partners as well as other members. There are members there, but our partners go there too, and we all interact there, right?
yeah, so there we have several. I think we're over 600.
Pushing 700. We're getting
Yeah,
close to
we're getting
700
close
there.
there.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of fun stuff on our Facebook page as well.
Right. And anytime we have events, we do post that there too.
Yes.
So anyway, we'd love for you to join us however you can. We'd love for that support. If you were nourished by what we talked about today, we would love that support.
Yes. So that's what we got
That's
today.
it. That's it.
And please come back next week where Michelle will have a guest.
I have a guest next week.
Yay!
So awesome.
And
Because you're out of here.
because I'm out of here. I'll be in Prescott next week. So I will see you guys in December. Yeah.
All right. See you later.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Tune in again next week at 11:11 a.m. Pacific Time, or Monday evening at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. In partnership with New Thought Media Network.
Free my mind, open my heart with the whispers of truth. To live a conscious life, to live a conscious life on the growing edge.